Before we get this started, of course, we gotta crack the LD, boys. LD's cracked. Let's get into this. So where does purpose come from? That's a pretty loaded question, and I think purpose is a rather subjective topic. Purpose is a decision that is made by the beholder. Some people find purpose in charity. Some people find purpose in bearing children. Some people find purpose in raising children. Some people find purpose just in their passions alone. Now, I guess this video is really for the people that don't have children, don't have hobbies, don't have passions, and they don't really have purpose. They're lacking purpose in their life. So where do you get it? This is actually a really good spot to be. I call this spot like the loading dock. You're just in the loading dock, and all around you is endless purpose for you to go out and fulfill. Now, as I say, it is time for you to seek discovery. Stop merely existing, and you need to take action and discover the world that's around you. There's just endless possibilities, and there's so much knowledge out there for you to harness to be able to find your purpose. And don't stray too far away, because there's a lot of purpose you can find up here. You need to take time to really work through what's going on between your ears and get that in order before you go out and seek the world. Friedrich Nietzsche, or if you pronounce it Nietzsche, I say Nietzsche. In The Will to Power, he makes a statement. He's talking about nihilism as it pertains to Christian morality, but he says, existence achieves nothing and accomplishes nothing. It lacks an overarching unity in the multiplicity of events which compose it. The character of existence is not true, but false. There's utterly no reason to believe in a world of truth. I do have some warnings, though, before I go any further in this video. And about this topic, I do have some warnings. If you are going to choose to go read The Will to Power by Friedrich Nietzsche, which I highly suggest, make sure you go into it open-minded. Be subjective before you read it, because there are some things that you need to be hyper-aware of before diving into this. So this book, The Will to Power, it was released after the death of Friedrich Nietzsche. His sister found a bunch of his writings and took it and supposedly published those writings into the book, The Will to Power. But there's some theories on that. So his sister, Elizabeth Forster, was married to a man, Bernhard Forster. He was a prominent German nationalist and anti-Semite. So a lot of people believe that she manipulated his texts and his writings to kind of conform and to fit the Nazi party in their beliefs. So a lot of people think she manipulated to highlight racism and eugenics. But there's other alternative theories that exculpate her, and they think it was just the Nazi party alone. Like, they don't think she had any wrongdoing in the manipulation of his texts and his writings from his books. They think it was just the Nazi party that did it. Before you read this, just make sure you have it keenly aware that the writings could be distorted by the Nazis, or could be distorted by Nietzsche's sister, who may or may not have been indoctrinated like to the Nazi party. And it's also worthy to make the note that Elizabeth Forster, when she married that Bernhard Forster, Nietzsche did not show up to the wedding because he did not agree with German nationalism and the Nazi party. So keep that in mind before you go out and buy this book and read it and you're like, oh my God, it's the greatest fucking book ever. Which it could. There's, so far I've read some pretty interesting beliefs and interesting perspectives he had on things, but it might not be totally 100% his perspectives. It might be distorted by Nazis. So just make sure you remember that. And also take that into the world as it pertains to other books. I think we have this tendency to believe, just because it is a book, that this is 100% true. There's no bias in this book, yada, 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 and I'm going to take everything that I learned from this and go out in the world with it and, wear it on my sleeve. But remember, books have for thousands of years have been used as propaganda. So make sure you're doing your studies before you dive into a book of who was the author, when is the author from, where is he from, just so you're not getting yourself indoctrinated with shit that might be incorrect or not ethical, or, just be aware of propaganda and such like that. So, delicious. Back to the quote. Nietzsche, he didn't believe we had a preordained purpose on this earth. He thought we had to go out and seek our own purpose and create our own meaning of life. This was done by constant will to power and self-overcoming in the pursuit of your own values and your own goals. Now you might be asking, like, where do I even start with this? And the answer is pretty simple, and this is just my suggestion, so take it with a grain of salt, but it has worked for me. The best course of action I recommend is going to your local bookstore, whether it's Barnes & Noble or you got like a little mom and pop shop, and set aside a lot of time, okay? This might be a quick thing, or it might take a while. Just go in, scan all the shelves, scan all the genres, scan all the sizes of books, whether they're fiction, nonfiction, just scan everything. And take as much time as it takes to find a book that even slightly interests you. Even in the slightest bit, that you go, I actually might like that, I'm not sure, but anything that gives you a little inkling, and pick that one book. Now, once you've found that one book, this is where the fun begins. Take that book home, okay, and completely, before you even open it, completely shift your paradigm towards books. Don't go into it like, I'm going to finish this by the end of the week, or I'm going to read this as fast as I possibly can. Go into it slow and methodical. Before you even crack it open, tell yourself, I'm going to take as much time as I need to finish this book. And I'm going to do whatever it's going to take to retain as much information from this book as I possibly can. Whether that's looking up words so you could further enrich the text and understand it better. Because there's words that I found in my experience, words that you think you know the meaning of, but you don't actually really know the deep understanding of it. And one word could completely change an entire sentence and how you perceive it and how you take it in, or how it's portrayed. And a way I like to kind of quantify this thought process is go into the book, okay, and tell yourself, at the end of this book, when I am done with it, no matter how long it takes or no matter what it takes, I'm going to teach a class on it. Now that will completely shift gears in your brain from, I'm just going to rip through this book so I could say I read the book, and then I read the book and I didn't gain anything from it. This is fucking stupid. I still have no purpose. But I think if you go into it telling yourself, well, I have to teach a class at the end of this, which you actually don't, but come from that frame of thought when you're reading the text, and you're taking notes, and you're taking your time, you're rereading text, you're coming at the text sometimes from different perspectives. Read a chapter from one perspective and then go, actually, I'm going to read it from this perspective. I think you will get ultimate value from the book. Now, how does this pertain to purpose at all? Well, I believe if you keep repeating this process, get through a book, go back to the bookstore, do the exact same thing, eventually you're going to find something in this literature that gets you excited, right? Whatever it may be, whether it's evolution, whether it's physics, whether it's just literature itself, whether it's poetry, whatever it may be, you'll find a topic. Eventually you will find a topic that gets you excited. And with this excitement, you'll go to bed and you'll be thinking about it. You'll wake up in the morning and want to get right back to doing it. It's giving you a task day in and day out to put your time and energy into. And it's giving you a purpose to get up and do something. And that purpose is, I want to fulfill this. I want to stimulate my brain. And I want to understand this topic as deeply as I can. So that's my little bit of advice if you're lacking purpose. I think if you find purpose in that, it will just snowball and you'll find deeper purpose in just understanding the world around you. And I think there's a lot of answers. And not only just the books, but sitting with yourself and free of distractions and just focused on one thing. You'll discover a lot of what's going on up here if you feel like maybe it's just kind of all over the place. So every morning you wake up, say to yourself, I'm going to seek discovery and I'm going to become curious because that will give me purpose.